And so I come to a short message for today. And this is an account of a continuation of the feeding of the 5,000, which we had last week, the great picnic, as I called it. It seems to me that we've a whole host of people in this account looking for something desperately. If you like, it was sheep without a shepherd. And that leads me on to one of my 5 different themes that have come out of the reflections over the last few weeks. So today we're going to be just thinking a little bit what it means to be a sheep without a shepherd, and what it means for us as church, as Christians, to try to be those shepherds that people can follow. Who are these people that are searching? Who are the sheep without the shepherds in our society? It did seem for a while that Jesus had taken a bit of a break and gone off, but that crowd persisted. The crowd noticed that Jesus wasn't there, and I guess too they noticed the disciples weren't there. But they got themselves in those boats and they went off. Another illustration of moving. People on the move. And Jesus was on the move too, because he ended up where they were. They'd had their physical needs met. They'd been fed bread and fish. But they were seeing that there was a bit more to it than that. Jesus answered in these words. He said, "Very truly, I tell you, you're looking for me, not because you saw the signs, but because you ate your fill of the loaves." And then he said, "Don't work for the food that perishes, but think of the deeper things." And he had to try and help that penny drop, didn't he? Which is, again, I think what we might have to try to model, if not achieve, because of course it's only God who actually drops that final penny. But we've got to keep pointing. Now, the one thing that Jesus did, which I think is quite interesting, was that he asked questions. And I think sometimes we try to tell people, but we don't let them think for themselves. As a teacher, when I was regularly teaching in classrooms, one of the things we were asked to do was to ensure that the children were asked probing questions. So not just the black and white, yes, no, right, wrong answers. It was asking those questions. And Jesus, again, modelled that for us. This is perhaps what we should be doing. We should be allowing that stage, that arena, we should be allowing the people the chance to ask the questions, to air the doubts, to ask what if and why. You know, all those questions that make us squirm in our chairs because we think, oh, I'm going to get the wrong answer, or I don't know what to say. But actually, we have to encourage that, because it's never black and white, is it? Never. There's often mystery and that ethereal quality to faith. So, if we want to fulfill that role of shepherding, then we have to be prepared to roll up our sleeves and be creative. Challenge in ways that we've never done before. Think what questions that we could encourage. When you can't sleep, go to bed. What might people ask, and how would you answer it? Jesus used that opportunity that he had, and he saw the persistence of the crowd looking for further miracles, and he tried to use their energy and questions to move them beyond the satisfaction of that physical experience of being fed. And really what he did was reframe or reinterpret the gospel for that particular moment. Is that not what we should be doing? Reinterpreting the story of food in the desert for today. How might it look if we reframe the story? Now, Jesus didn't want to be popular, so it wasn't about dumbing things down. Jesus wanted the people to know. The crowd had eyes, but didn't seem able to see. And I think that's the same for us, part of our problem. We see physical needs being met, and we often just stop there. We don't go further because we're not prepared to take the risk, perhaps because we don't think we've got the answers. What we must do, again, is follow the example of our shepherd and trust that Jesus will actually give us the words that we say. Jesus will point us in that direction if we're prepared to move. Jesus spent a lot of time talking about life and experiences, human beings, you know that. He did not shy away from things like money and relationships and politics and oppression, discrimination. And I think perhaps we haven't to be afraid of that too. We have to speak out. It's significant that the crowd were fed before Jesus began his teaching. And we are called, I think, to do that. Meet the physical need. Avoid spiritualizing, but then move gradually into the reason why we do what we do. I think there's also a sense that we need to really feel Jesus's heart, his compassion and his empathy for those people in that crowd. And so we need to step into the shoes maybe of the crowd and think, well, what does it feel like for those people who know nothing of God? What does it feel like? How can we make a difference? As shepherds, what we need to do is lead people to that safe place where God can speak, where they can hear. So where are those safe places that we can lead people to? We have to learn to be those metaphorical shepherds. Finally, the Message version of the text says this: when the people heard, they cried out, "Give me that bread." Let us believe that there are people who are ready to cry out, "Give me that bread," and align themselves with God. Because if we don't believe that, we're not going anywhere. How can you be a shepherd? That's your challenge for this week. We're going to sing or hear the music for a modern version of "The Lord's My Shepherd." Let's pray through that we're given that strength to actually become the shepherds.
The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. He makes me lie in pastures green. He leads me by the still waters. His goodness restores my soul. And I will trust in you. And I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home. He guides my ways in righteousness, and He anoints my head with oil, and my cup it overflows with joy. I feast on His pure delight. And I will trust in you. And I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home. And though I walk in darkest path, I will not fear the evil one. For you are with me, and your rod and staff are the comfort I need to know. And I will trust in you. And I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home. And I will trust. And I will trust in you alone. And I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home. For your endless mercy. For your endless mercy follows me. Your goodness will lead me home.